So Enoch Burke has been ordered back into prison again. And the tone and the language that's being used by the judge in this case is very aggressive, I believe. Tell me what you think. He's being described now as an intruder who is stalking the school. So, from a man who stood up for his beliefs and his principles, that he wouldn't call a pupil by they, them pronouns or whatever it happened to be, wouldn't go along with that. The school and he engaged in a long back and forth that ultimately resulted in his exclusion from the school and being told that he wasn't to come back onto the premises again. The way he saw it was he's still a teacher there and he has a job to do and he hasn't done anything wrong. And bearing in mind, this is a so-called Christian school, although I believe, personally speaking, it's Christian with a small c, given the amount of pandering they've been doing to get their transgender-friendly seal of approval, jumping through hoops for transgender or trans NGOs. But anyway, put that to the side. An intruder stalking the school, judge orders Enoch Burke to be jailed again. And, he's already spent over 500 days in Mountjoy prison at various stages over the last few years as a result of this. So, like him or hate him, love him or loathe him, you can't say that the guy's not principled and he's not dedicated. Would you spend 500 days in Mountjoy prison for contempt of court? Or would you just say, okay, I'm staying away, I'm keeping my mouth shut? So anyway, a judge has ruled that Burke should be sent to prison for a fourth time for contempt of court orders, requiring him to stay away from Wilson's Hospital School in County Westmeath. And the whole thrust of this case is that he believes that he's being punished and victimized for standing up against transgenderism. The judge is coming at it from the angle that no, it's because of contempt of court that you're going to prison. And he's effectively said you've got the keys to your own prison cell. You can leave anytime you want. You just have to purge your contempt of court. But of course, he hasn't done that to date. Doesn't look like he's going to do it anytime soon. So let's look at a quick news article in this one, and then we'll get into the details.
Been sent to prison. None of the Burke family were in court when Mr. Justice Cregan delivered his ruling this morning. The judge immediately outlined that this case was not about transgenderism. He clarified that Mr. Burke had previously been imprisoned and fined for contempt of court because he continues to trespass on the school grounds and not because of his views on transgender issues. He also said that Enoch Burke doesn't just trespass onto school grounds, but that he roams around its corridors.
Now, let me ask a question to those that are supporters or fans of Enoch Burke. Is that on? Should he be allowed to roam around free range around the school, roaming the grounds, roaming the corridors, interacting with pupils when he's been effectively dismissed and barred from the school grounds? Is that taking it a step too far, in your opinion? Given that he has no mandate to teach there at the moment from the school? Or should he stand silently outside the gates protesting? Let me know what your thoughts and opinions are on that one below.
Mr. Justice Cregan said he is an intruder stalking the school, its teachers and its pupils. The court also heard that the school spends €1,000 each week on security. The judge said that showed the grotesque behaviour of a teacher who puts his own ridiculous sense of self above the needs of his pupils. The court also heard.
And again, let me ask the question, the school are forking out €1,000 a week for security guards, all of which that I've seen, by the way, so far seem to have been foreign security guards. Why is that? Can they not get any Irish security guards on the job here? And I'll show you, I've got 3 photographs that I have seen. I'm not saying they haven't got any Irish security guards there, but I'm just saying that all the ones that I've seen in any of the video footage of this so far, they've all been foreign men. Telling him that he can't come onto the grounds and that he's not allowed on there, and he's out of order. €1,000 a week, calls it grotesque, says he has a massive sense of self-importance and he's putting himself above the children. Again, what do you think about that?
Heard how barrister for the school, Rosemary Mallon, submitted that the school just wants to be a school. The judge added that instead of concentrating on educating the young people of tomorrow, they were having to deal with Mr. Burke and his antics.
Well, let me add something in there. If the school just wants to be the school and educate children, how about just, sticking to a normal curriculum? I can remember back in school, I was taught the basics: reading, writing, arithmetic, a little bit of geography, a little bit of history, a little bit of chemics, a little bit of physics, a little bit of biology, a little bit of, whatever, woodworking, metalwork, playing sports, all that sort of business, educating me in the things of the world, or as I have now known to or understood, indoctrinating me into a school routine system that wants to feed me into the machine. But anyway, putting that to the side, is Mr. Burke playing up with his antics, or did he take a stand against something that he didn't believe in, that he would not be prepared to accept as being peddled on the grounds of this so-called Christian school?
He said security guards had failed to stop him entering the school grounds, and there was no longer any option left other than to send him back to prison. He did add that Mr. Burke has the keys to his own prison cell, and that if he wishes to purge his contempt, he will be released.
So interesting there. He says he has the keys to his own prison cell. This is one of the security guards that got in Enoch's face the last time he tried to go for a wander round the grounds of the school. This guy here, you can see him. This is another occasion when he tried to enter the grounds of the school. This guy was walking around him with his arms held out. Different guy. This is a third security guard again that was there to greet Burke at the gates. And remember, this is costing €1,000 a week. But there's another element to this now. The judge has now moved that the mother, Martina, and a brother and sister of Enoch are also being prosecuted for contempt of court, given their court romantics, according to the judge, which adds another dimension to this. So we might even see Martina behind bars before Christmas. But in a judgment that was delivered yesterday, Justice Brian Cragen said that Burke's behaviour at the school was described as grotesque, part of a fanatical campaign against transgenderism, calls him a baleful and malign presence. Pretty strong words from the judge. An intruder stalking the school, its teachers and its pupils, said the judge. Also described his behaviour in court as confrontation, verbal aggression and bullying. And again, he's no stranger to the court, is Enoch, and run-ins with these judges that have led to multiple stints in Mountjoy prison, 513 days, you can see there in total. And he's also been fined €225,000, €250,000 for contempt. It's not a small amount, I think you would agree. None of the fines were willingly paid, and he's refused to comply with court orders. So he's sticking to his guns, if nothing else. Now, here we have it. Justice Cragen also directed the Attorney General to bring criminal contempt proceedings against Mr. Burke, his mother, Martina, his siblings, Amy and Isaac, over their behaviour in the courtroom. So 4 of them now are having contempt proceedings brought against them by the Attorney General. Family members have had to be thrown out. There's been loud, argumentative interruptions. It's the deliberate, sustained, concerted attacks in the courts. Burkes have no right to engage in the verbal abuse of a judge, and said their behaviour was systematic, astonishing. So he's coming out, he's swallowed a thesaurus by the sounds of it, as the judge. Mr. Burke had, without justification, accused him and the barrister of lying, and then he goes on to say he's deflecting, he's distracting. Burke wasn't in court for these proceedings. And there you have him there walking rather forlornly down the road with his satchel over his shoulder there in the rain. So called him an utterly intransigent litigant who's blinkered in his approach to all issues. Mr. Burke's trespassing undermined the work of teachers to nurture, protect, and educate the pupils, said the judge. So is he getting in the way of that? Is he getting in the way of that? Is that the only agenda that the school has? What do you think? Leave me your thoughts and comments below. Will this ever end? Will this ever end? You know, he's already been cleaned out. His bank account's been cleaned out. He's spent, 500 odd days in prison. Probably by the time he finishes this stint, it'll be the equivalent of a 2-year sentence. And, he's just getting further and further into debt. But maybe they'll crack, as in the courts. Maybe they'll back down. Who knows? But tell me what you think below. Share this video out to people you think might benefit from seeing it. At least let them see what's going on in some faith schools, or one faith school in particular in Ireland. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. For now, I'm Rick Munn. This is No Risk, No Reward Media, over and out.